Okay, so trying to decide what direction Season 4 is going to take. And starting with Twilight Sparkle now being an alicorn.
Well, from my perspective, it's just like, from a writing standpoint, it makes sense. The next step that really makes sense is for them all to become alicorns, but from a fan base point of view, that really wouldn't make sense. My theory on that is the fact that Twilight Sparkle becoming an alicorn kind of messed with the elements of harmony. See, what I'm saying there is that when they were all normal, well, as normal as they can be, being 3 different types of ponies, the elements of harmony were all on basically the same wavelength. But when Twilight Sparkle became an alicorn, her element of harmony kind of ascended to a new wavelength. So right now the elements of harmony are kind of useless. So, and you can't really shrug off the duties as a princess, because let me put it that way. It'd be kind of disappointing to like go immediately from, oh, I'm a princess, to screw this.
Well, my problem is we sent Cadence off to the Crystal Empire. We've got Luna and Celestia raising the sun and the moon in Canterlot. Not that we've seen much of the world, but where are they going to send Twilight to be a princess? Quote unquote.
I'm kind of thinking she might stay in Ponyville. If not, then she's probably going to be charged with either going to an empire that has been previously unmentioned, or starting her own. Which would be kind of weird.
And my problem with Ponyville, not that I don't love Ponyville, I mean, Ponyville is amazing, and I love the characters and stuff, and I know that changing location would be hard. But Ponyville is kind of like a little backwater town, if you think about it.
Well, if you think about it, most towns started off as backwater towns.
I mean, Canterlot was always a capital. The Crystal Empire was probably always an empire. I have a hard time imagining Ponyville becoming a princess stronghold for Twilight.
That's true, which also like makes me want to bring up the fact that as a writing plot device, they really haven't mapped out Equestria for us. I mean, the Crystal Empire kind of came out of nowhere, never mentioned before, so what's to say they won't start, like, a new place? Because, I mean, we've heard of Philadelphia and Manhattan. So...
Lost Pegasus.
Yeah. So... And what was it? Saddle Arabia?
Saddle Arabia.
So...
Which has horses, though, not actual ponies.
Yeah.
Which is also something I would like to point out. Why do horses not live in the area of Canterlot?
I think what they're doing there, though, is they're kind of rolling off the idea that, like... Well, if you think about it, Saddle Arabia is kind of based off of... is based off of Saudi Arabia here in our world, you know?
That makes sense.
So they're kind of playing out the fact that we all look different based on what region we were raised in or were born in. You know?
That's true. Well,
I mean, because even, like, if you look at the Manhattan and compare her to Apple Bloom, there's some major differences.
True. Now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Oh, but we got off topic.
Yeah.
We were talking about Twilight Sparkle being a princess and the elements of harmony. But, so, if the elements of harmony are now off sync, is what I'm going to say.
Okay.
How are they going to fix that? I mean, I could see them going a lot of different directions, and some of them make me cringe.
Yeah. Like I said, the most obvious would probably be to try and make all of them into alicorns, which would make Season 4 a large amount of episodes with Twilight being absent and the other 5 kind of wandering around doing their own thing, trying to discover who they are. You know?
Sadly, I could see that happening, but it's one of those possibilities that makes me cringe. I hate the idea of the rest becoming alicorns, mostly because I don't see, again, not that their elements aren't as strong as magic itself, but generosity, laughter.
My biggest one is laughter. I have a problem with laughter. I can see generosity more than laughter.
But, I mean, there's still a problem. Is that a strong enough magic to become an alicorn all on its own?
Well, technically it doesn't have to be magic itself. I mean, because Twilight was kind of special in that regard, that her entire cutie mark was based off of magic. Her talent was magic. So for her to ascend to alicorn, she had to create her own type of magic. You know?
True.
So there's like a different, I don't know, trial for each pony in the event that they all start to become alicorns?
It makes me cringe. I hate the idea of, I mean, especially Pinkie.
Yeah. Pinkie as a princess would be kind of ugh. But I don't see it going the other way. I don't really see Twilight coming back to being just a unicorn.
And see, that would be my golden sunshine around this dark cloud that I've now found myself in with the series. Is her kind of going, I don't like being an alicorn. My friends and the elements of harmony mean more to me than that. Especially since they have
that's a good point that you're pointing out there, though. Like, it's her being a princess is going to cause a massive rift between her and her friends.
Because, I mean, there is that difference now. She is a princess. They are just normal ponies and Pegasus and unicorns. I mean, they are not princess. What reason do they now have to be hanging out with them? With each other?
For that matter, we don't even know if Twilight's going to remain in Ponyville, because, like, duties as a princess, she might be taken off to God knows where.
What reason would she have to be there still? Because I mean, we have to view it as she has now reached the pinnacle of understanding that Princess Celestia wanted her to understand by going to Ponyville. What reason does she still have to be there?
I'm guessing she's going to be spending a lot of time in Canterlot during Season 4, learning the whole princess thing from Celestia and Luna.
Somewhere, there's got to be learning to fly, which will probably...
I don't know, at the end of Season 3, she seemed to already have it down.
That's sad. See, I would hope that they would give us an episode of her learning to fly.
That would be kind of a fun episode. Anyways, we're getting off topic again.
We are. So, with that being said, the elements of harmony being broken is a good chance.
Yeah.
Thus, them turning them into...
Well, that's kind of the key factor. That's kind of the key factor for our argument. It may not be that case, but that's how I see it from a writing perspective.
That's true. And then... will we get a new villain? Will we get a recycled villain? Will we get a new villain?
I'm kind of depressed at how easily Discord was changed.
You didn't buy his reform.
It was too sudden, too... Yeah. Like, I understand, you know, the whole friendship thing. It was his first friend he ever had. He didn't want to lose that. But at the same time, it's like, okay, he's been a villain for how many generations? I mean, he was forcibly stonified because of how dangerous he was.
And slightly off topic. And I only think of this because I've read some theories online. Do we think that we'll ever get a backstory for Discord?
I don't think that we will ever get a backstory for Discord, just because he's kind of one of those trash mob characters, as horrible as that is to say, but he was never mentioned beforehand, and then he was just there.
Not that we don't love you, John Delancey, because we do.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think one of the biggest theories I read was he is Star Swirl the Bearded.
That's a theory?
That's a theory.
Well, I would have to read up on my Star Swirl the Bearded thing. Like, maybe you can enlighten me. What exactly happened to Star Swirl? Does it ever explain?
They never say. And that's the thing. All Celestia ever kind of hints at is that, the spell didn't go as planned, and they were no longer friends after that. And then, Celestia hints at, it was difficult to deal with Discord, blah, 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 blah. Could that be because there was an emotional attachment because he used to be someone else?
Well, on that respect, it's a possibility, but at the same time, a large portion of the MLP fan base would be in an uproar if that was announced.
You think?
Yeah. Just because, like, I've seen it in several other series where they have a villain that is suddenly announced that they were once a good guy, and I've seen entire fan bases just go, no! No! Like, the people who came up with the theories would be ecstatic. They'd be like, ah, we are right, but a good majority of the fan base would just get into an uproar about it.
I don't think they ever specifically said that Star Swirl was good, quote unquote. I mean, he was really, more research driven. He didn't say bad things, like he wasn't out there causing chaos in the world.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he wasn't exactly someone who was out there and involved and...
Well, while we're off topic, let's look at the last spell that Star Swirl tried to do that Twilight completed. We saw what that did to the elements of harmony. What if it was connected? It's a possibility, because what if it was connected to just one person instead of the elements of harmony?
In which case, it would have been just him, because he didn't have friends.
Yeah, it would have really kind of ripped his own harmony apart. So
and
it would make sense. We would have
Discord.
Yeah, it makes sense, because, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but, like, I don't believe that there was ever any real explanation of where Discord came from. It's just, oh, here he is.
Yeah, no. There was just, hey, a long time ago, Discord stirred up some trouble, and thus we had to turn him to stone, because he was making everybody miserable.
And it was never fully stated that Star Swirl passed away. It was never...
No! I mean, all she ever says was he locked himself away to study his magic, pretty much.
Yeah. But at the same time, Star Swirl may be... He may be elsewhere. And for that matter, thinking of the same spell that Twilight completed, what if Discord is a part of Star Swirl? What if there are other aspects of who Star Swirl was that are running amok?
That's a frightening thought, but a good plotline for future villains.
Yeah.
Here's hope. Maybe there will be a whole plot line of gathering the parts to put Discord back as a whole.
Yeah. Which also would tie into the idea of them all becoming alicorns. Like, they each get sent off after a different piece of who Star Swirl was. And during that time that they're fighting, each of them discovers their destiny, as it were. You know?
That could make sense.
But again, that goes back to the idea that the
elements of harmony don't work.
Yeah.
Alright.
For that fact, it could tie in even if the elements of harmony still worked.
Because, if you send them off on their own, I mean, they have shown that the elements of harmony don't work on their own at this moment.
Yeah.
That's not to say that, they couldn't go off and grow and their powers grow and thus the element that they're in charge of does start to work on its own.
Yeah.
I don't know. Alright, well then. On the topic of villains.
Okay.
I kind of want Nightmare Moon to come back.
You want Nightmare Moon to come back?
I love her. And it would not hurt my feelings if, Nightmare Rarity made an appearance in season 4. Because I just like the idea of that dark magic taking you over.
Well,
I think that is a good villain.
Here's my thing, with the idea of the Nightmare versions, where MLP is a plot-based series, I would like to see Season 4 be a build-up season. Because that often happens in a lot of seasons on TV when they feel that the show is starting to die. Which, unfortunately, with Twilight becoming an alicorn, it's kind of opened a rift.
It has.
That may kill the series.
I mean, I know that there are the bronies out there who go, I love it! But yeah. I think there are a good portion out there who go, oh, why did you do that?
I like the idea just because it adds a new challenge for Twilight, but at the same time, I don't like it because it might be the death of the series.
See, and I don't like it because I feel that now that she's an alicorn, what further does she have to do? I mean, if you don't do something really awesome with Season 4, even the hardcore bronies are going to be like, nah, this is just getting boring now.
I would love to see in Season 4 a plot-building thing where the other 5 turn into their nightmare forms.
That would be so cool.
And just use Season 4 for a build-up, and then have Season 5 be this massive thing where Twilight has to try and bring all her friends back from their nightmare forms.
Now, again, a theory I read. I did not come up with any of these theories myself. I'm not that creative. But a theory I read stated that the power that controlled Sombra from the Crystal Empire and created Nightmare Moon, who controlled Luna, is one and the same. That it is its own entity. And thus we could see Sombra again. Because did he really get defeated? I didn't really watch.
You'll have to remind me who Sombra is. I kind of got glazed over in that episode.
He was the evil king who was keeping crystal ponies imprisoned and miserable and.
Well, it very well could be. There could be a shadowy villain that hasn't been really introduced yet. That may be where they go with Season 4, is Twilight coming across something of an ancient dark entity.
Possibly becoming bad herself?
Perhaps.
Ooh. Okay, now that intrigues me. Now Alicorn Twilight is looking a little more sexy, if you will. I'm thinking if...
Nightmare Twilight,
if Twilight got taken over by this dark force, but still had to pretend to be good. I mean, that could be a great plot.
Yeah.
Talk about building up the other characters. They're all thinking something's wrong with Twilight.
Another thing that could be done with that, though, is, like I said, with if you use Season 4 as a build-up, you could have Season 4 where the other 5 are suspicious and trying to figure out what Twilight discovered. And then at the end of Season 4, Nightmare Twilight uses her magic to split the personalities of each of her friends and create the nightmare version as well as the regular version. And then each friend would have to face their own nightmare form. You know?
Yes. I was trying to find how many episodes they had given us for Season 4. They're giving us... had Season 4 listed on its resume and a total of 91. So 26 episodes for the 4th season.
Okay.
That's a lot of episodes for build-up.
Yeah.
I mean, especially since Season 3 only got 13.
Well, it could be a build-up, like half of it could be a build-up. And then the rest of it could be trying to resolve what had happened. I kind of like the idea of the nightmare forms coming out in the actual series. And another thing for plot that I would love to see there is if the nightmare versions come out, I would love to see a counter of each element of harmony. Like
So
that
like,
would be a good plot to me. Is to see what happens when the elements of harmony meet their match.
so you'd have generosity and selfishness.
Yeah.
Kindness and hatred seems harsh, but I mean, loathing seems harsh.
Something along those lines.
Something along those lines.
Laughter and terror.
Terror, sadness, one of those.
Yeah.
Honesty and lying.
Yeah.
Loyalty and
what's a good one there? Only real word we can come up with is disloyal, but too close to loyalty. Betrayal.
Oh, that'll work. That would make me happy.
Yeah.
The anti-harmonies. Is it wrong that I see Trixie as at the head of one of those positions?
Well, Trixie's always been kind of. I'm not a fan of Trixie's character just because she's more of a nuisance than anything. And I say that with all the love and compassion I can muster for Trixie.
I mean, she had such great potential.
And then they just kind of made her this second-rate villain.
I mean, she's not even a good villain compared to the others.
Yeah.
Like, Sombra, and he was only there for 2 episodes and not even really a villain. He was just a ghosty shadow thing.
Yeah.
Was a better villain. And not that maybe they didn't mean for her to be a villain, but just felt weak. Oh, by the way, we're getting season 4 this winter. Yay, we don't have to wait until 2014.
That's happiness.
That is happiness.
So if we were to take the idea of the nightmare versions coming back, I can kind of see this complete and utter division of Equestria. Because, like, if we bring Nightmare Moon back, and then we bring out the elements of... what should we call them? Elements of discord, elements of disharmony.
Disharmony. The elements of disharmony. I like that. That works for me.
But then you have all those come out. I kind of foresee like this... like it kind of becomes an infection that's slowly moving across Equestria.
Everybody's getting nightmarized?
Yeah. And then like those that are left that are still unnightmared have to try and figure out how to stop the spread before it's too late. Especially if, let's say, Twilight, having revealed her to, like, come to her destiny, can't break apart from her nightmare self the same way that the others can. And it's just nightmare Twilight. You know? Because then they'd be without their magic person, so they're trying to figure out what to do.
Okay, see, that could be a great build-up.
Yeah.
Suspecting that, I mean, there are plans for Season 5. Season 5 has not been announced yet.
Well, if they're going to do this, I really hope that they come out with a Season 5, because, like, Season 4 would be this major build-up, and then, like, a final confrontation between the nightmare forms. And then Season 5 would basically be trying to reconstruct everything while the fallout from the elements of disharmony were still present. You know, because that's one thing most people never realize, is that just because you win a war doesn't mean that you're done. You still have to fix everything.
And that's part of why the Crystal Empire arc bugged me so much. Because even when they went back later for, you know, the equivalent of the Olympics,
yeah,
I mean, it kind of felt like everything's so happy and perfect.
It's like, no, you almost got taken over by the guy again.
I wish there was more building back up of the Crystal Empire afterwards, showing that, Cadence is a real character. She actually struggled to do something. Oh my gosh, would that have been so awful? But that goes all the way back to she was so important. She was Twilight's favoritist full sitter, and yet we heard about her in the first 15 minutes of an episode.
Sunshine, Ladybug's awake. Clap your hooves and do a little shake.
I want to see her be a stronger character. And on that same note, I actually want one of the princesses, Celestia, Luna, Twilight, Cadence even, I don't care which one, to be a queen.
To be a queen?
A queen. What's wrong with being a queen? Why do we just have to have
evolution?
Princesses? Yes.
Well, perhaps that's the next step. They're all princesses, Maybe there hasn't been mention of a queen because no one knows how to become a queen yet.
And why aren't...
maybe there's a next evolution after Alicorn that makes you a queen.
That would come back to where did Celestia and Luna come from?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be a nice episode?
That would be a nice episode because it never really explains what happened to their parents.
And I know that part of why they don't do that is because they are leaving it open for us older fans who have the ability to think outside of, ooh, Princess Twilight. But
well, it might be the key to Luna and Celestia's immortality. Is that next evolution causes immortality.
But they are kind of already immortal, so wouldn't that make them queens?
Well, here's the thing. What if their mother, the queen, as it were, gave birth to them after she had become queen? That immortality would kind of fall out down the line,
That's true.
So it seems like they're less of, immortal because of their own power and more immortal because of their mother.
I like that thought.
Yeah. Because it's been stated that Twilight does not share the immortality.
No.
Which means that the immortality comes from somewhere else rather than just becoming an Alicorn.
You have to actually earn that status.
Yeah.
Because not that raising the sun and the moon and dreamwalking aren't, amazing feats of magic.
Yeah.
But I mean, what is stronger than the element of magic itself? I mean, Twilight is pure magic. If she's not immortal, there's got to be something beyond that.
Yeah, I'm going to guess that's going to be a plot later on, is the idea that there is a next evolution after Alicorn. And at this point, only Celestia and Luna's mother has ascended to that point.
I like this thought.
But for that same matter, where would she go then? Where would... Unless, she became so powerful that she had to become an essence of the universe itself.
Sadly, I think that's kind of where it would go. I mean, I kind of see that as happening with Celestia. Becoming too powerful that she has to take that next step and become...
part of the idea of the universe.
Yeah, become a celestial being, which is not a pun on her name.
That might be why she is training Twilight so much, is she knows that eventually she has to ascend past the point that she's at now.
Okay, but then I have the problem with, are we going to go through... And I know this is way, way, way down the series because, I mean, Twilight is by no means an old person right now. Old pony.
No.
Old mare, whatever.
She's not
But-
as ancient as Luna and Celestia.
Right. And granted, I mean, she'll probably only live a normal life, which we don't know what that is. I mean, we don't know how old Granny Smith Apple is.
Yeah.
But what happens after that? If there's no Celestia, and I would see Luna starting to take the same trek as Celestia at that point, are we going to start this cycle of we make a new alicorn to control the world?
Well, it may be the fact that, like, Luna and Celestia continue as part of the idea of the universe to raise and lower the sun and the moon.
But I mean, I don't know
they become part of the background instead of an actual character.
Right. But I don't know if the world of ponies is ready to be without a princess.
Well,
So,
that may be the idea behind Twilight.
and I'm saying when she's gone, are they going to create yet another alicorn? I mean, will Twilight have to go through the same process of teaching somebody and hoping for the best that they become a alicorn?
That is a good question.
I mean, granted, that's way, way, way down the line.
Yeah, that's like ages. That's probably like way after the series is dead. That's going to be fan fiction.
That will be fan fiction. But, okay, then we know that Celestia had a mother.
Yeah. Well, obviously.
Yeah.
For that matter, I want to point something out. Why are there only princesses?
That's what I was going to say. Where was Daddy?
Yeah.
Was he an alicorn?
It's a good
Because, I mean,
question.
she has a nephew far, 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 far removed, is what it officially says. But,
Yeah.
I mean, he's not an alicorn. He's just a unicorn.
Yeah. But that's also several times removed.
So do you think we'll see a male alicorn?
I would like to see a male alicorn just to give the fact that, like, especially where we're talking about, like, their Celestia and Luna's mother giving birth to them after she had become, like, this kind of supreme being. It's kind of like, well, to match up on that level, wouldn't there have to be a male version of the same thing?
I would assume so, because, I mean, there's no mention of Celestia and Luna becoming alicorns. It's always stated that they just were.
Yeah, and from a genetic standpoint, it wouldn't make sense for them to have a mother that was an alicorn and then, like, a father who was any of the other three, because that would cause a major genetic drift, and the chances of them both being alicorns would be slim to none.
Which, you know, also points out small things that I noticed throughout the series is we never get like a unicorn and a Pegasus, or an Earth pony and a Pegasus. We always have 2 Earth ponies, 2 Pegasus ponies, 2 unicorn ponies.
It's kind of like a weird segregation.
Just slightly. I mean, except for
I mean, there was the one episode when the two
the cakes.
Yeah, had the unicorn and the Pegasus. But that was because of genetic drift.
Over.
Yeah.
It's brushed over. Somewhere way, way back there was a a unicorn. And somewhere way back here there was a
Yeah, the chances of that, even with genetic drift, are pretty slim.
So, I find it a little weird that they segregated, so I'm not judging, no. I'm not going to nitpick that fact.
Yeah.
However, with
on a social level, it kind of makes sense because, like, it may be difficult for a unicorn to get along with an Earth pony just because, like, there's that entire rift of one having magic and the other not.
And I can see that with the Pegasus versus the other 2 as well. I mean, a Pegasus lives in the clouds.
Yeah.
A unicorn or a Earth pony is definitely not going to take up living in the clouds and vice versa.
Yeah. Well,
So
they can't because they just fall through the clouds.
Yeah, they don't have the cloud magic. I don't know. However, I have decided that with the idea of the nightmare versions and whatever magic it is that controls that, I'm slightly excited for... Oh, my eyeball. The fact that that would open up the chance for Twilight to be put somewhere new. Here's her reason for being in a world we have... a location in the world that we haven't heard of yet.
Yeah.
She's discovering this new magic, and oops, it turns her evil.
Yeah.
So at least this gives us a reason as to why she's out there.
Yeah.
Why the rest of the ponies are there, I'm not sure.
They're just kind of groupies at this point because Twilight's become this like overshadowing character now that she's an alicorn. And as I've stated before, from a writing perspective, the idea of having one of the 6 overshadow the other 5
isn't going to bode well.
No. Because then the other 5 just kind of become filler characters. They just kind of come around whenever she needs them to.
They become our cutie mark crusaders, which I love and adore, but they are just background characters.
Yeah.
However, it would not hurt my feelings if we saw more of the cutie mark crusaders this coming season.
I would love for like that to actually like come to fruition. I want to
see some cutie marks.
Yes, I would love to see like a trio of episodes where each of them finally figures out what their cutie marks are. I mean, like, it would kind of ruin their character plot, and it would kind of make the writers have to find something new to use for filler episodes. Which, as much as they would probably hate me for saying it, we could use a little less filler episodes in like every series on TV.
Isn't that the same with everything though? I mean,
yeah.
The manga I read, the
I get really tired of filler episodes just because it's...
I hate filler arcs. I hate filler arcs. I hate... That's my biggest fear for Season 4, is it will be nothing but filler. I do not want filler. If they give me nothing but filler, I will revolt. I will become an animator and make my own fan series on YouTube if that's what it takes. Because that's how much I hate filler.
Well, unfortunately, what is it, 26 episodes, you said?
Yes.
I get the feeling there's going to be a good amount of filler in Season 4, if that's how many episodes there are.
I know. I'm guessing at least a third of the episodes will be filler.
The biggest problem, like, the reason fillers appear so much is writers tend to write themselves into corners, or they get lazy and they don't write fast enough.
Quick! We have to figure something out to fill!
Yeah. Which I can understand because a lot of series end up, like, producing an episode once a week, you know?
Right.
So it gets kind of time goes by really fast because of all the things that you have to do to get a series going, that the writers don't have a lot of time. They're kind of the first step in the entire process, so they have to be done first. Now,
granted, I know writing takes a long time and animation also takes a long time. But we are, still 5 months? July, August, September, October, November, December. We are 5 months out from when we're expecting to even see episode 1 of Season 4.
Yeah, this is what kind of irritates me. Season 3 is done.
If the opening of Season 4 is not amazing beyond all belief.
Like, yes, I believe that they do need a vacation, but...
Season 3's been over for a while now.
Yeah, like, it becomes ridiculous at a certain point.
I understand, again, writing and animation takes a long time, and voice acting.
Well, stop and think about it. How much money are they making off of this because of the children that watch this, the bronies that watch this? Like, they have a double-edged audience. They have the children, but they also have the more adultish type people watching it.
And it's not just the children buying the toys. Yeah. I am a prime example with my Fluttershy and my Pinkie Pie sitting right here.
For God's sake, I have a stuffed version of Twilight.
That's, as big as your head. But,
yeah.
and I'm a sucker for the mystery ponies in their little bags and stuff. They are making money off of this.
Yeah.
So, I'm upset that it's taking them so long to get season 4 out.
So we're really I'm hoping they at least have, at this point, like, how long has season 3 been over?
Oh, it ended. Did it end in February or March?
Okay, and here we are at the end of in the middle of July.
Yep. So that's 4 months. 4.
Okay,
We've still got 5 months.
Yeah, let's say that they use these 4 months for vacation. That's plenty of time, in my opinion, as a writer of a show like this, you know?
Yep. They've been working on other shows and blah, blah, blah.
Now you have 5 months to just be writing. Because, like, you have your cast for writing, you have your cast for animation, you know?
And
everyone else gets to stay on vacation until the writers are done.
It's literally Flash animation, and not that I want to take away from Flash animation. I mean, it's hard in its own right. But it's literally puppets. You're using the same backgrounds. You're using the same puppet every single time. It's why it looks so good. But it's not that difficult to pump out an episode.
Well, if you think about it, like, if they really put their time and effort into it in these next 5 months, they could pretty much have season 4 done.
And I want it to be good. I understand that filler is required.
Yeah.
To get through a certain thing, or, you know, tell us what's going on in the background here for whatever reason.
Let's put a time lapse on it, okay?
Okay.
Let's say in the next 5 months, they spend 2 weeks, like, debating where season 4 needs to go. Okay?
Okay.
This is also saying that, like, they just have compounding episodes where the plots overlap instead of, like, plot for one, plot for second, plot for... Okay?
Right.
They spend 2 weeks debating the plot of season 4. Okay? Now you have that out of the way.
Check.
Now, you can spend a week debating, like, you spend 3 days debating what the episode needs to do, okay? You spend another 3 days writing it, and then you use the last day to review it. I realize that's kind of time compressing, but
I mean, they've got 5 different writers over there writing episodes for MLP.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got choices.
Well, even think of that. If you spend the 2 weeks debating where the plot needs to go, you segment it, and then you have 5 writers. You have a writer on an episode each. You can have 5 episodes done in a week on the writing.
And thus, and granted, I'm sure they don't pick every single episode.
This is true.
But, I mean, you've got to have some options.
Yeah.
I want something besides filler.
I mean, 9 months of vacation is extreme.
I want something
7 months of vacation is extreme. Okay, I think vacation is done now. I mean, because people who have working jobs are lucky to get a vacation of a month.
And granted, I mean, they're not, like, on vacation.
Yeah, they're not on vacation.
They're working on other shows and whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, their pony drives should be in high rev.
Yeah.
If season 4 opening, and I'm sure it'll be a 2-parter.
Probably.
That's
how most of them have done, haven't they?
Drop dead, gorgeous with animation, has flawless songs, and I want songs. Only really liked one song in the season 3 finale. I want songs, I want amazing animation, and I want a good opening story.
Yes.
And I want it to be strong.
I would love to see them stop, like, this whole, like, several different plots for each episode. I would love to see them do a full season plot.
See? And granted, I get it's a little kid show.
Yeah.
And little kids have short attention spans, and they kind of want the finality of it right away.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I was a little kid once. Sailor Moon, my guilty pleasure as a child, was kind of a season-long show.
Well, the biggest problem with it is, like, that the generation that's being raised now
has the attention span of a leaf.
Well, is what I'm calling the ADD generation. Nobody knows how to get a child to just calm down and pay attention. And then, like, because of ADD, everyone thinks their child is ADD.
It's true.
So instead of, and I'm going to sound pretty brutal right here, but instead of disciplining the child so that they know you're not going to deal with it, you just blame it on ADD. Granted, I'm not taking away from the ones that do have ADD.
No, because it's a real...
Yeah, it's a real thing, but not every child has it.
No, and not every child is dyslexic.
Yeah.
Which was, you know, one of the favorite excuses when I was growing up. Oh, I'm dyslexic. I can't read, and thus I have a heart... Really? Suck it up.
Yeah.
There are real people with dyslexia out there.
You know, it's got to be insulting to the ones that actually have it, because, like, it's being detracted from because of all the people that claim to have it when they don't.
That's why we over-medicate.
Yeah.
Because a doctor is all too happy to medicate you when you don't have a problem.
Well, because of my bad experiences with doctors, I may not be the best person to ask, but doctors are more interested this day in making money than actually helping people.
Again, we're getting off topic.
Yeah, we've been off topic for a while.
We could go on a whole rampage about Obamacare and how it's really out there for making the doctors money.
Don't even start me on that.
But we're not. We're going to hold ourselves in.
I think this is a good spot to end this one, though. Like, this is a good place to cut it off here, because we're going on pretty long here.
We are. I think we covered what we needed to.
Yeah.
Now that we're getting distracted with other things besides Pony.
Yeah, alright, so before we get too far off topic, we'll end it here.
Ending!
Alright.